So good afternoon again, Excellency, Honorable Speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Warmly welcome to our 14th panel discussion of AVI-SDG Dialogue. My name is Kim Liang. I am a junior researcher of the Center for Sustainable Development Study of Asian Vision Institute. And this is my great pleasure to be the moderator for today's program. And our AVI-SDG Dialogue today have brought the 14 topics of our webinar series on youth participation of the sustainable development on the floor discussion. And we would like to understand about what are the progress and challenge in achieving youth participation for sustainable development. What are the key interventions being implemented to support the youth participation amidst the COVID-19 pandemic? What are the proposed short-term intervention and long-term strategy for supporting youth participation for the post-COVID recovery? Excellency, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen, in this meantime, we are honored to have our prominent leader and researcher in our diverse development field who will deliver their valuable comment in our program today. And before starting our program, please allow me to introduce our honorable speaker who are waiting on the screen to share their presentation. So first of all, please allow me to introduce His Excellency, Mr. Jack Lim from Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, Cambodia. His Excellency Jack Lim is a Deputy Secretary General of National Youth Development Council, Cambodia. He also a Deputy Director General of General Department of Youth Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, Cambodia. And he has been serving as the area of youth development for almost 30 years from 1993. And serving this important role and working on the youth development throughout Cambodia, His Excellency Lim is experienced in coordinating the development youth development policy at the national and subnational level, especially the National Youth Development Policy and the National Youth Development Action Plan. And he possesses success a track record of the coordinating policy dialogue on youth development between the government, UN, and volunteering involving organizations. And he also a renewed co-trainer of nationwide in Cambodia. His Excellency holds a master degree of Master of Education Administration and the Master of Law, and an expert of inclusive youth development in Cambodia. So the second, please allow me to introduce His Excellency Mr. Dao An San from Union of Youth Federal Cambodia. So His Excellency currently is an advisor of Samdech Prime Minister of the National Assembly of the Kingdom of Cambodia and the Secretary of State of the Ministry of Industrial Science, Technology and Innovation, and the member of a Central Committee of the Union of Youth Federation of Cambodia. And he holds a master degree in policy economics from the US in 2009, a master degree in economics from Royal Academy of Cambodia in 2003, bachelor degree in law of Royal University of Law and Economics in 2001, and other bachelor degree in management from National University of Management in 2000. Excellency, honorable speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, to follow our agenda today, we will start with our captivating program with the first agenda, the role of UYFC for the youth participation for sustainable development, progress, challenge, and recommendation, which will convey the speech by His Excellency Mr. Dai An San. And the second on the government policy of youth participation for sustainable development. And the speech will be delivered by His Excellency Mr. Jack Lim. And for the last of our agenda, we will open for the joint discussion, and then we will have a group photo session at the end of our program. So, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to have any question during the presentation period, please drop your question in our Zoom chat box or our Facebook Live. So we will deliver those questions to our honorable speaker. So without further ado, I would like to begin our program. Please allow me to invite our honorable speaker from UYFC, His Excellency Mr. Dai Ansan, to deliver his remarks. So, His Excellency, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ms. Moderator, for the kind introduction. And if I may, a few words of correction. UYFC actually is the Union of Youth Federation of Cambodia, not for the role. And second thing, I'm not the advisor of the Prime Minister President. Actually, the Vice Advisor of the Vice President of the National Assembly. Okay, thank you very much, and a big hi to His Excellency Bong Chak Lim. Thank you very much, AVI, for having me today. Thanks also goes to Bong Van Ret for extending the invitation to UYFC. And of course, my big hi to everyone here in the Zoom. Even though I cannot see everyone, just Bong Chak Lim here and Ms. Moderator. And also big hi maybe to the Facebook live stream viewers out there. Okay, before I start, well, I have to admit that I'm not an expert in this topic of Sustainable Development Goals. In short, we say SDG. And I think I'm more of a relevant practitioners and lucky to be a stakeholder in this area of SDG. And from the perspective of UYFC and myself, I have quite many opportunities to engage in this field, working with youth across Cambodia and also the youth from around the region, and with close partnership with the Ministry of Education and Sport of Cambodia, also with other relevant institutions and organizations. And so I will try my best to put into the context of this SDG topic in the context of Cambodia and also Cambodian youth. And I think it is very important to really talking more of in this contextual basis. So at the end of our discussion, hopefully we can get some practical comment and feedback from our audience as well. And this global SDG or UN SDG from 2016, I assume we all know about this. And so in the context of Cambodia, I may emphasize more on our own Cambodia SDG rather than the UN SDGs and their targets. And I think there's a nuance, there's some difference there. And one noticeable difference between the UN SDG and Cambodia SDG is that our Cambodian SDG have 18 goals rather than 17 in the UN SDG. We have to include the 18th goals, which is about the mine clearance, and it is again really our contextual base in Cambodia that we find it a must to get rid out of these landmines and UXO in this war-torn country back 30 years ago. So what is the context, so to say? To me, in a quite simple way to put it, let me start by the word sustainability. The SDG is about the sustainability. How we Cambodia get here to the point of having this sustainability or sustainable development? How we have been achieving it? And to me, at the country level or even at the personal level, before having sustainability, we need to have stability, and together with prosperity, right? So how can you be sustainable if you are not stable plus prosperous, right? And how you become stable? Again, the same, either a country or personal level, if you don't have peace, either in terms of physical security or peace in mind. So the series of conditionality, as I put it, so it is peace before stability, before prosperity, then we get to sustainability. I think this would give us an easy understanding of the word sustainability. And if you look at the journey of Cambodia, this beloved country of ours, for these last 40 years, it clearly shows us so. That's the journey we have been through. Maybe we also should recall the MDGs, which is the predecessor of the SDGs, the Millennium Development Goals. And actually, we didn't talk about MDGs before we had full peace in the country, before 1998, to be exact, which marked the great achievement of the win-win policy, policy in Cambodia. And only when we have been stable politically and macroeconomically that we have achieved over 20 years of prosperity with 7% sustainable economic growth on average. So it rings the ears, right? I pick up the words stable, prosperity, sustainable economic growth. So this is in line with the different stage of development of Cambodia, so to say. And so now, where we are now as an emerging country, and we keep striving forward to reach the ambitious goals to be a developed country, a high-income country by 2050. So this is in brief a journey that we have been so far in comparing to the stage or the category we have, the goals we have with the SDG. And if you look at the again the SDGs, the 5 Ps. Again, I assume that everyone do some homework about this UN SDG. So the 5 Ps that I refer to, which are peace, people, planet, prosperity, and partnership. The main category that we have UN SDG so far. It is almost the same thing what I have just mentioned about our it is all about peace, the dedicated, striving people, the prosperity that we have, the partnership, and the physical planet we live in. This is the 5 P in line with what we are talking about between this SDG compared to Cambodia, different stage of progress. So I think today I may pick up and talk more on the people factor, the use, and the partnership factor for this SDG from the angles of where I come from and rather than here, the Union of Youth Federation of Cambodia. So in this sense, let me also at least tell you a bit about UYFC, the Union of Youth Federations of Cambodia. Actually, we came into existence in 1978, long time ago, 44 years already. And back then, it was a time when there were big waves of turbulence in our country, domestically and internationally. And the level of poverty and hunger in Cambodia was almost 100%. And the way I put it this way, because this poverty and hunger is all about the goals one in the SDG, right? And alongside with the up and down of the country over these 40 years of presence in all circumstances, UYC is now proudly, I can proudly say, the longest surviving and biggest growing NGO in Cambodia. The organization which is action-based volunteerism, working with the youth. And I also have to specify this point, working with, not just working for, working with the youth from all walks of life for the benefit of the country and also for the youth themselves. And UYC currently has more than 180,000 active members and hundreds of thousands are supporting members across the country. However, by comparing the total youth, by comparing to the total youth population of Cambodia of almost 5 million that age between 15 to 30, I think we UFC are still in need to engage more with our younger generation, with our youth cohort in the sense. And as for its main activity, I will try to walk through the relevancy between the UFC activities and mission towards the goals of this SDG. I would pick up some goals that are most relevant to our activities only. So in this regard, I would briefly categorize them into the basic needs of youth. Let me start by, from that angle, I think it's much easier to understand, right? What are the basic needs of youth in general? To me, there are four. First, all youth want to have a better health, strong, better health, right? Second, good education. Third, good job, well-paid job. And when all these three factors, they would like to have some sense of contributing back to their society, which is volunteerism. And I think it is quite an easy way to angle it this way. And each of these main activities, main categories of activities of UYC really relevant to what set out in some goals of the Cambodian SDG and UN SDG. For example, first let us talk a bit about the health, the good health. I think it is always the first priority for all youth, and it is the must if every youth wants to be an active, productive asset of their family, of their country. And for that, UYFC has been undertaking many activities like blood drive campaign, blood bank and donation, road safety, anti-cervical cancer, playing sport, and we have this program, this campaign called Soccer League program, and we also have our Doctor Alliance group, which have been very active in many fronts related to public health across the country, jointly by our young doctors, senior doctors. And lately, UYT is very proud to join with the royal government of Cambodia efforts. And we are proud to say that we have been part of this great success in combating COVID-19. For the information, for the last years so far, from April 2021 to February 2022, over 1,000 members of Dr. Alliance of UYT has been taking part in these treatments of COVID-19 patients that have been over 50,000 people, and has been given hand in giving COVID-19 vaccinations across the country to hundreds of thousands of people. And this particular effort and activity of UYC in this public health sector, I think is really correspond directly to the goal number 3 of the SDG, right? And they quote the goal. Okay, goal number 3, which is to ensure healthy life and promote well-being of all at all ages. So I think this really corresponding. Second, about the education. All youth would like to have good education, good degree, and I think this basic need for our youngsters is really important. And if we talk about these factors, it's really direct with goals number 4 of the SDG. If I can list down some activity in this regard, I can tell that UYT has been very active, of course, in close cooperation with the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports. We have Excellency Jacqueline here, plus other relevant institutions as well, like the anti-corruption unit, some schools, private, either public or private. And besides giving out scholarships, we engage youth volunteers in observing national exam to make sure the process of the state exam is transparent, following the high mission of Excellency Minister of the Education, Jackie Chop. Plus, we also offer free of charge extra classes to those preparing for high school exam. And at the end, we are so pleased to contribute to this increasing number and high rate of successful examiners, students from year to year, in accordance to the education reform process of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport. So this is what we have been doing in terms of this education sector in relevant to the goals of the SDG. Third, we are talking about the employment. When the youth have good education, of course, they would like to have good job. In this sense, it again relates to another goals of the SDG. And goal 8 of the SDG to promote the productive employment, and we're talking about the decent work for all. Yes. And from the part of the UYT, we would like to see more skilled working force among our citizens, especially in every youth of this country. We would like them to be well equipped with one skill, one serious skill. And in that sense, on the ground, USC has been collaborating with the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training, with the National Employment Agency, NEA, and also with some other partners as well, private companies. And we managed to regularly organize career fairs and forums that serve as a platform, the meeting point between the young people who are the job seekers to meet with the entrepreneurs. So in all, it's all complement to what the Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training has been doing. And we are pleased that we can be a positive value aid to the effort of the ministry and the government as a whole. First, let me also talking about the volunteerism. UBC, in the sense, see our Cambodian youth very enthusiastic about how they can contributing back to their society and country. And so we see this good opportunity and momentum to serve as a big platform for them to advance their, I can say, their agenda of love for their country. And since we are, university is the action phase, and only we believe only through active hands and participation of our youth that our country can move faster. That is what we really believe in. And so many activities and projects that have been done in this mission by UYT. And I can say in general that these are really complement to the to the P's of the SDG, the 5P I mentioned earlier: the partnership, the people, the planet, the peace, for prosperity and sustainability of our kingdom here. So to name a few of activities which are more, I think, more acquainted among many public activities like the biggest event of UYC on Golden Crown. I think most of us know about it. Youth festivals, Cambodian youth volunteers, liaison officers in many international and regional conferences and forums. These are all born with the volunteering and charitable hearts of our youth in striving for the betterment of their own country. And in sideline of this 4 point, I have to mention as well that another activities of UYT also relate to the goals 11 of SDG that I have to pick up here. When we talk about the P planet, the planet, which is the goals that make city and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable. The goals 11. And we have been doing quite a numerous campaigns under the themes of Cambodia's art for Kim, the beauty of Cambodia with a modern citizen. And for under that themes, we have Phnom Penh's art campaign. We have new habit, clean habit. We plant trees. We have this activity called planting trees of solidarity. We have this National Clean City Days, environmentally friendly school, etc. That again involve many volunteers, youth, and other stakeholders as well. And by mentioning all these activities, UYT will not stop here. We will continue. We will strive to mobilize more Cambodian youth and support only for the better causes of the country's development and prosperity, and of course for the benefit of the youth themselves too. We, in that sense, I think we need to have a clear mindset of one country direction, especially among Cambodian youth during this peaceful and stable time, in order to secure a more prosperous and a well-sustainable Cambodia ahead. And of course, this country, Cambodia, really needs youth participation to reach the goal that has been already set, 2030, 2050. And I think to make Cambodia a more prosperous and sustainable nation, all Cambodian youths who are the precious assets of the country need to adopt the mindset of being a leader, not a follower. Need to adopt the mindset of opportunity provider rather than opportunity seeker or beneficiary. It's not wrong to be beneficiary, but I think as our leader, Conductor Ramsey has been mentioning at one point, Cambodian people need to work harder. We cannot afford to walk, we need to run faster. So to advance the country moving forward faster, if we would like to compete in the regional arena or international market. In that sense, this is the message I would like to deliver, and I would end my intervention here, and would wait for more questions afterward. Thank you very much for your attention. I pass the floor back to Ms. Moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Mr. Dan An, for your nice presentation, and that would be a good start for our discussion later. And I also would like to apologize for my unintentional mistake regarding to your introduction of His Excellency.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you so much for your correction. And without further ado, I would like to turn the floor to His Excellency Mr. Chak Lim to deliver his remark. Please, His Excellency, the floor is yours.
Okay. So, okay. Brother Excellency Dan San, President of AVI-SDGs, and beautiful youth moderator, and all audience. Thank you very much for inviting me to join in this dialogue. It is my first time to practice my English online. However, I will try all my best to share and to deliver what the government policy, especially the Ministries of Education, Youth and Sport, that is the Secretariat of the Royal Government in the mandate of education, youth and sport in terms of youth development within Cambodia. What are the policies as well, and also the interventions of the ministry as well as the government for youth participation for sustainable development today. So and that is very good time that I have a bit more time because of the absentee of the speaker. Then I am happy to share with this valuable opportunity and time with our young people, especially for our stakeholders be in this live stream. On behalf of the leader of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, as well as the leader of the Secretariat General of the National Council for Youth Development in Cambodia, may I brief a little bit how the National Youth Policy have been developed so far, and how our young people engage in this development. As my background, that I was the one who coordinated the development of the National Youth Policy as well as the National Action Plan for Youth Development. I am very proud to share with you how the development of this important policy, that is the commitment of the government as well as this development partner and non-governmental organization, even the youth themselves, very active participate, in this process. So it took times to develop this important policy, but we together we could achieve this important document adopted by the royal government in 2011. So the National Youth Policy, it is the government, stakeholders, development partner, non-governmental organization, and especially young people involved commitments. That is the roadmap for our leaders working in youth development, especially youth themselves, what their problems, what are their concerns, and what their wish, that and where is the goal or direction that we wish to bring them to. Then this document was much involved from development partners who are expertise in youth development within Cambodia, non-governmental organizations, especially UYSC, very active participate, and other non-governmental organizations that they did a lot of brainstorming through their mechanisms from the national till subnational level to gather all problems that our young people face, even young people living with HIV/AIDS, indigenous group, ethnic group, they work together in their own group through non-governmental organization. Then we become a paper that is the voice of our young people, because this policy is not the adult just sit in the office and design for them, because this policy is affect the life of our young people, who they will be the leaders of the nations, the mainstay of the nation, as we all aware of that. So the needs of young people is different the need of the adult. So we are the youth worker, we are the adult who much involved in youth development. We understand this. So we use all the existing mechanisms to gather all the problems young people face, all the need that our young people wish. Finally, we get all this problem and recommendation for our young people, and then we conducted many national a consultation from all stakeholders, relevant ministries together, and then we adopted and with the 12 strategies, to address what's the problem and what's the need of our young people aged from 15 to 30s. That's now currently we have more than 30% among our population of 16 million. So this is very big potential for economic growth in our country by government and all stakeholders pay more attention about this potential of our young people, and you might see our economic growth, increase from year by year before COVID-19 pandemic. So these 12 strategies from the legal framework and mechanisms, education, employment, health, youth participation, justice, climate change, environment, volunteering, and prevention of drug abuse. So these are the 12 strategies, and now it is more than 10 years of these 12 strategies, and the National Action Plan has also developed by participation from all stakeholders, not quite different from the development of the National Youth Policy, because all the input that we gather from them are integrated and aligning with what's the rectangle policy of the royal government that refer in short human resource development, water, street, and electric city. That is very urgent needs of our country, and now we can see and we beneficiary from this policy till today. Even the remote area, they also get the electric city, as well as the infrastructures of water for the agriculture, and especially for the human resource development under the leadership of academician Minister of Education and Sport. You might see how the commitment of the ministry as well as the commitment of the government to achieve the rectangle policy that we can benefit for today, and thanks peace for this development. So in order to achieve and implemented the national policy with the 12 strategies, National Action Plan have been developed and adopted, and all ministries within the government are the members of the National Council. Even the representative of non-governmental organization represent in that National Council. And Ministry of Education, Youth and Sports, also the members of this National Council, and have the mandate to report what is the progress and also implement this National Youth Policy that aligning with the sector of education, youth and sports. So the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport see this national youth policy aligned with the mandate given by the royal government of the rectangle policy. Then we design the ESP, Education Strategic Plan, for every 5 years, to achieve this the royal government policy, the rectangle policy. Then ESP have been designed and developed. So youth subsector, that is called General Directorate of Youth, that in the Secretariat Technical Institution of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, responsible for youth development, that I am here as the Deputy Director General, that I am here to share with you what is the policy and what is the intervention of the Ministry of Education have been done, and what is the progress, and also what the challenge I might share with you if time available or the question might be raised by our audience. Then ESP education strategic plan have been designed and developed. Then youth subsector design based on the national youth policy. We are within the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport. So we know where to go and where we are and what we are going to do and how can we achieve these strategies. So in that, the youth subsector strategies we also design, and many activity has been many program has been designed, like digital development, entrepreneurship, leadership, and soft skill for youth development. This is the priority of the youth development within the ESP. That is the policy, the guideline of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, but also align with the national policy for youth development as well as the national action plan for youth development. So in this priority, we have many programs under this, like strengthening the digital skill and equip 21st century skill for young people to respond to the industrial revolution 4.0. Okay, that is now we develop a lot of program under the youth secretariat general. Okay, and like national youth debate program, you might see from the high school students that they are very active, involved, and the voice of young people to be hit with issue facing with young people or sensitive issue also have been discussed publicly. Okay, and also entrepreneurship spirits, for our young people with the 3 programs that the ministry have been implemented, like know about business, to equip the soft skill for our young people, that is the 21st century skill. Business plan contest where our students at university level, high school, and also out of school, you form a group for design the business plan among them, and they may contest for national award every year. Another program for entrepreneurship skill is CBAT, that we call community based enterprise development. That is, we design for our young people that they are already running their own business, and also for our young people who are seeking for starting up their own business. So this is the program that the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport have been implemented to equip the soft skill, especially entrepreneurship skill, to our young people, where the global is very competitive, as Excellency Daw San mentioned. Yeah. So, and also to respond about the youth participation, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport design and develop one program that is very popular among our young people from the central to the grassroots level, called VMC, volunteering for my community. Yeah, so this program is very popular, and based on our commitment and responsibility with our objective and a goal, and supporting from our leader of the ministry to achieve this goal. For the first year, we challenged a lot, but through the result now, more and more non-governmental organization, development partner, even private sector, they see this and they come and cooperate with us. And our young people who actively participate in this program, you know, in almost 1 year, you know, to participate, to switch their skill, translate the hard skill that they got from university, you know, into the social impact through working as a group, and they can see the problems that their community are facing. So they form as a group and then recognize officially from POE, it means Provincial of Education at the provincial level, and they send those groups to the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport. Then we selected our core volunteer who are experienced, who expert or willingness and commitment for this 1 year period to mentor, to orientate, you know, our volunteer at the community level, how to design the project management, how to manage, how to mobilize resource at the community level. Because what our intention is in the project, in the program, is we do not want our young people that they are the key citizen in the community, be a part of that community. We do not wish our young people just finger point to our chief leaders, to our commune leaders, to our district leaders, to our governor, and as well as the, you know, the national leader, that, oh, that is the responsibility of them. So we do not wish to see them. We want them to feel, to involve, you know, how to work with a groups of people, how to accumulate the idea, the concept, so they can see how the problems happen in terms of education, health, environment, or other social issue happen in the community. He is the key person who be a part, you know, be a change, a positive agent for their community. So this is the key, the main purpose of the project. So the project, the program with 3 objectives: for young people, for community, and the last for institutional capacity. For young people, okay, I think we do not have enough time to explain for that, but of course our young people are very proud to be a part of that process, because that is the process for long development, and finally, you know, they be familiar with soft skill along joining this program, you know, they get along the way, and then they might also identify their potential. They might explore their potential. What is their dream in life through 1 year participation in the community level, and they have also a chance to meet the expertise of the project management, both national and international speaker that they really have this such opportunity for them. Then, of course, finally they feel the feeling that chief villagers is not easy to manage. Numbers of people living in the village, even just a few of people in the team, also difficult to manage. But finally, they still manage and they can design the project and implement it in their own community. So you can see how our young people potential can contributions to the society. So this is the 3 years already that we start from just 12 provinces, and now is the whole nation, our young people implemented in this program. So now I am very proud that our young people, they play very important role to implementation of our national youth policy, as well as the 12 strategy that we are the stakeholders all together of the nations, from the government till NGO, development partner, youth themselves. We involve from the early stage till the development, implementation, and also at the stage of monitoring and evaluation. So this is a very good mechanism that Cambodia very proudly share with this best practice with the regional and also the world. Like I presented this the model of the National Youth Development Policy, National Action Plan, and also how the line ministry get involved and coordination and can implement the National Youth Policy in Italy, in Austria, and in other countries that we are invited to join and share with that. This is what I just share with you with this dialogue. In terms of policies and also the intervention that the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, and as well as the royal government, how might be paid, attention for our young people, even though we still facing some problem, but of course we understand about the natures of management. We cannot even the member of the family, we cannot equally something like that, because many questions have been raised by our young people, where I be a public speaker in the public forum have been raised, but of course the youth themselves must be aware what is their responsibility as they are the active citizen in the community. So of course, for our young people, when they get involved deeply with the volunteering for my community and other program, they touch with their heart, and they can understand with how hard our leaders from the village level to the national level. Then our young people, it's a more mature, mature. It's become adult, critical thinking, problem solving, how to adapt with they be. They are be aware. So that is the goal of our government for development of the human resource, especially for our young people and for our young people. And in the period of COVID-19 pandemic, the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, we have tried our effort. You might see how hard our leader of the government, especially the Ministry of Education and Sport, to very rapid change from traditional classroom into digital classroom. That is very good that our minister is very wise and smart, that he has a long vision, be ready that uncertain even might come. So of course, if without that is not, we not support a COVID epidemic, but that is the theory of taking a problem as an opportunity. So this is the minister take the problem become the opportunity. Then the whole society support the priority of the ministry about digitalized education, that now even my relatives, my kid, they are adopting, and they are familiar with learning by Zoom, by by online. It's something normal, new life, how to live in this COVID-19 epidemic. So that is a very good opportunity within the pandemic, that our leader of the ministry, we also happy that very big achievement have been achieved in very short time. Now the whole country be aware, and they support this vision. So even the sub-youth sector, also the program, we conducted a hybrid online and also offline. Okay, even we are challenging, but finally we got it. So I think I talk a bit more. However, I think it's 30 minutes as my Excellency brother too, because I also look at the timing. 30 minutes. Thank for the attention of the UNDP for that. So I just end of my sharing about the policies, as well as the intervention with the dialogue in this. So thank you. I give the floor to the moderator, and the question waiting for we are discussing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Mr. Lim, for your insightful and interesting remarks. So, Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we've been enjoying listening to our insightful comment from our honorable speaker. So, our program now is approaching for open for the floor discussion. And I have received a lot of questions from our Facebook Live. So, I would like to select the first question, asking by Mr. Ceremony. So what are the talents that the UYFC meet to encourage all the youth to participate in sustainable development, and what can youth benefit from involving the sustainable development? So I think this question would refer to His Excellency Dayan San.
Thank you very much for the question. My apologies that I don't get the name right.
Mr. Maniwan.
Oh, Manivan. Okay. Thank you very much, Manivan, for the question. The challenges, of course, we do have, and I think likewise, any group, any movement, any organization have their own challenges. And in this engagement with the youth, and again, I have to specify my word youth here: work with, not work for youth. And I think the small nuance here really make a big difference. In the sense that we would like to engage youth completely with their own initiative, with their creativity, with the idea, with a sense of improvement. We don't want to limit them. Don't want to, so to say, working in a frame setting. So from that point, I see it varies upon different Jews as well. Some Jews adopt the mindset as a follower. So when they give them space, they don't really know how to work it out. But for those who really have a mindset of being independent, being creative, being a leader, they really want to join in that sense. And our mission is actually quite broad. As I can state in general that as long as the Jews would like have the heart, have the willing to share back to their society, they can join with UIC. So there is no patterns of challenges from that angle that I can really share with you. Because we adopt the method of working with Jews rather than for Jews. And we benefit a lot as an organization. And the Jews who are engaging with us so far, I think most of them are happy. They really want to see their contribution really give positive impact to themselves, to society, to their community. For your information, UIC has a 25 office across the country, and we don't give the clear guideline of what to do, what not to do. So different course of action has been adopted along provinces according to their own resources, according to their provincial context. So in that sense, I think, well, I'm trying to figure out if there are any specific challenge here. Maybe about the funding. The scarce resource is always, yeah. But more and more, if we look at the figures of youth participation, I think I can share that we are quite successful in mobilizing the youth, and their engagement is really beneficial. And there are much more to be done. I can say we have been doing quite a lot, achieved a lot, but there are also more to be done, because the demand, the needs of the youth and our country cannot be exhausted. It's always there, it's always changing, it's always evolving, especially that we are projecting ourselves as a high-income country by 2050. I think it will be soon. And we need to work more. We need to have more concerted effort in one voice, in a very sharp direction to that end. So, I think I hope I answered your question. If it's not clear, please ask more questions on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, for your comment on the question. I think the next question is, in Cambodia, the participation of the youth in sustainable development can be mostly seen in the areas, while are limited in rural area. What can be done to accelerate the narrowing of the gap between the two areas. So I would like to ask the question to His Excellency Lim.
Okay. I thank you very much for the question, and thanks Excellency brother who shared with us very insightful one. For this question, Cầm Liếng, right? Cầm Liếng, can you specify what is the question again? I could not capture. Can you please? Thank you.
The question was asked in Cambodia, the participation of youth in sustainable development can be mostly seen in the urban area, while it is limited in the rural areas. And what can be done to accelerate the narrowing of the gap between the two areas?
Thank you very much, moderator. Of course, as I just share with you about the interventions of the ministry in terms of youth participation for sustainable development goal. That is Cambodia is a member state of the United Nations have their own roles to implement this. So, of course, as I share with you about the volunteering for my community program, that is not for the urban, but for the whole nations, because our youth living in the 25 municipal and province, they be aware through the mechanisms of the ministry, especially POE, Provincial of Education, Youth and Sport at the provincial level, as well as the school leaders, that they are aware of this. So the disseminations, this question has been raised also while I meet with our youth delegate. They have raised this. Of course, this is in order to provide the opportunity for our young people. You know, even Ratanakiri and Mandul Kiri, they also be aware of that, but not all our young people be aware of that, because for the young people that they are interested in involving in the society, volunteering for any program happen in their community, they are eager to search for any informations, while the other young people, they just looking for the job opportunity or income generations. So it depends on our young people things in their daily life. So what is the intervention of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport have been done not only VMC, volunteering for my community, even business plan contest, and now national youth debate also reached to the provincial level, where our young people in the high school also take part in. And the Minister of Education, Youth and Sport, when he see the remarkable result of the national youth debate, and then he advised the leader of the general secretary, of youth to scale up this to the remote area, especially even in the school. They have a debate club in their school. At the same time, non-governmental organization that is the key partners of the ministry, like UYFC, they have the key role to fulfill what the ministry cannot reach out. And other non-governmental organizations like DVV International, World Visions, VSO, and other youth organization lead. They are the partners of the ministry, of the government. So they have the responsibility to fulfill what is the policy of the government, because we are in the same house. Our goal is the same. So I see, many non-governmental organizations, they have implemented, many projects or programs in a target area. So this is the collaboration that for our youth development in our Cambodia. So of course, many programs that Her Excellency Director General of Youth have modernized, modernized a lot, and I cannot mention all because there are so many and more young people, engaged accordingly, from the VMC, National Youth Debate, Business Plan Contest, BIP. BIP is Basic Education Equivalency Program. Where is the program that we cooperate between the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport and Ministries of Labor, Vocational and Training with the technical and financial support of UNESCO, that we design the digital learning for our out of school youth who drop at the lower secondary school, who wish to continue their educations. We design also for that summer youth camp, where our young people throughout the country might apply and join with that for weeks together, how to live together, and also soft skill be there. So maybe more program that I cannot mention because of the time, but what our audience rest, this is what I respond to your wonder. Thank you.
Thank you so much, His Excellency. I got another question from Ms. Viria. What are the strategies that UYFC and Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport use to raise the awareness of the role and responsibility of youth for sustainable for SDG?
Okay.
What is your question, His Excellency?
And then may I intervene for that particular question? Thank you. Well, before answering this question, I would also like to intervene also to the previous question asked to Excellency Jacqueline. I concur with his explanation, the idea that the government has been doing a lot and has been achieving a great job, and great success in narrowing the gap. And actually, we have to look at what kind of gap is that. Maybe the question refer more to physical infrastructure. That we have to acknowledge it because, well, they are more centered in the city. But in terms of capacity, in terms of the involvement of the youth, then definitely that. At one point, thanks to Ministry of Education, the youth debate, the national youth debate mentioned by FNC Chaplin. I saw a team from Ratanakiri province, and they were so great, and they won a championship in the debate. And my impression back then was wow. And I think thanks to good communications, good technology, that the gap has been almost cannot be noticeable in terms of their capacity building, in terms of their strength. So in that sense, I think we have to look at what kind of gap, and the youth participation in our country has been very, very much better compared to the situation 10 years, 20, 30 years ago. I still remember well during my time in primary, secondary, high school. I didn't have good opportunity as the kids nowadays, and we have been improving a lot in that sense. That's my add to the previous question. And for this question about the roles and responsibility of youth for SDGs, I think any action taken by the youth really contribute to SDGs. It's a broad topic. If you look at the 18 goals of Cambodian SDGs, everything's there. I can just say, if you really study hard, if you are a student, if you are really studying hard, studying smart, you already contribute to SDG. If you are a worker at a garment factory, if you are trying to upgrade your skill, if you are trying to increase the efficiency and effectiveness of your productivity, your time management, you already contribute to SDG. So the goal is very, in a sense, so general. So any positive contribution from our every youth in this country really help advance, accelerate the achievement of SDGs. And remember, we have not only SDGs, we have our own goals, 2030, 2050, yes, and many other mission as a nation, as the active workforce of this country, that we can pile up and contribute to the concerted effort, to the common interest of Cambodia. I would not like to elaborate again about the roles. I think, to me, I believe in personal perseverance of each and every youth in that sense. Let me try to put it simple way. The government has been trying to build schools, build roads, not for any particular group of youth, not for any particular group of population. We send the same teacher, the same curriculum, But in one class, there is a top student, there is really a bad performing student at the bottom of the class. With the same opportunity given, but we see the difference among the youth. So in that sense, I think the personal take of every youth really matters, really counts. If I would refer to the quote by Jack Ma, right? In different age, you do different things. And I take this opportunity to call upon our youth to continue working hard. As I mentioned earlier, adopt the mindset as the leader, not the follower. Action takers rather than blah, blah, blah. I think that really help to advance your future, and that will positively contribute to the country goals, which is either sustainable development goals or the goals of catching up with the neighboring country or our Cambodian 2050 goals. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, for your contribute. And His Excellency Jack Lim, would you like to have any comment on the question?
Thank you very much for the question. Of course, the role of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Sport, and I think UI FC here, and as well as other non-governmental organizations and development partner, we should expand or disseminate about what are the sustainable development goals, and as His Excellency Daw San mentioned that SDG is is a broad sense. Then all positive contributions or activity of our young people in the community, it surely contributions for sustainable development goal. The thing is, whether sustainable development goal, all goal, and hundreds of priorities in SDG is be aware by our young people is still limited. Even the names, what is the sustainable development goal, what they are talking about, and what is the sustainable development goal for Cambodia, they should be aware of that. And what are the roles of our young people to contribute to achieve our Cambodian sustainable development goal. So we need disseminate any activity, any campaigns among young people to be aware of this, and we equip them, we guarantee them what kinds of activity in their daily life, in their educations, in their employment, in the social activity that be a part for make a better place in their community. When they be aware, then they know about their concrete actions day by day. This is what I think that all the line ministries, especially Ministry of Education and Sport, that we have the mechanism from national to subnational and cooperation with development partners, non-governmental organization should be responsible for their own role and for the benefit for our young people, inclusiveness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, His Excellency. As the time limited, I would like to end our discussion here, and thank you so much, both Excellency, for your valuable comment and interesting topics regarding to the government policy and activity for our young generation. So before closing our program, I would like to invite honorable speaker for a group photo section. So I will count to 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you so much, His Excellency, for your kind cooperation. Excellency, honorable speaker, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. To end our program, please allow me to express my gratitude to all honorable speakers for spending your valuable time with us today, and for the audience for following our program to the end. And we would like to apologize for any unintentional mistake and wish you all distinguished guests stay safe from COVID-19. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.